The Citizen Nighthawk, with all its functions that you'll probably never ever use, is a more modern take on a pilot's watch, and it's probably the best watch that Citizen has to offer to date for around $200. I've been eyeing this for a while now, and every single time I wanted to buy one, something else always caught my attention and I always put it off to the last minute. After I finally managed to get one, I have to admit that I had to convince myself to wear it because I wanted to put this thing up for sale the first day, same day it arrived in the post. After a week of wearing it, I was actually wondering why I didn't buy this sooner, because I was convinced that this thing is amazing and is probably one of the best watches that you'll ever buy for the money. Since this has been reviewed by every single watch channel on YouTube, in today's video we're going to talk about 5 things that I like and 5 things that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk. I'll try and keep this as short as possible and as short and sweet as possible as I can. Let's jump into it. And to start on a more positive note, let's start with the 5 things that I like about the Citizen Nighthawk. Number 1 is functionality. What makes the Citizen Nighthawk such a cool watch is that it's packed with a lot of features. We have a GMT hand function and we have this inner rotating bezel that allows you to do all these conversions that you'll probably never use. Let's face it, we pretty much Google everything nowadays, but all these things add up to the authenticity of the watch and make us feel a bit more involved, much like having a helium escape valve on a $3,000 watch that you'll never use, but it's one of those things that it's nice to know you have there. Number 2 is the GMT function. This is something a bit more practical, and what I particularly like about this is the usage of the space on the dial and how it's displayed. We have on the left side of the dial these red markings for the PM and the white for the AM, and the red and the white planes that point on the corresponding color, which in essence does the exact same thing as a GMT hand, but like I said, it's a bit more of a space saver kind of method, and this is what I particularly like because it's just kind of thinking outside the box. Number 3 is the Ecodrive movement, which is another cool thing that adds to the overall versatility and practicality of the watch. What this means is that this watch can charge its battery from pretty much any light source, natural or artificial. This is a technology that is in a lot of Citizen watches, and I'm not exactly sure, but the battery needs replacing after 20 years or so if you look after it, which is pretty much impressive, especially at this price. Number 4 is the water resistance. The Nighthawk has a water resistance of 200 meters. You're probably going to say, but George, there are a lot of watches that have 200 meters of water resistance, and I would say that you're probably right, but don't forget that this is a pilot's watch with a GMT function and an inner sliding bezel. This is not beyond impressive, but I love knowing that I can take this pretty much anywhere, any time of the day, and just forget about it and not worry. Number 5, which is last but not least, is the bracelet. The Nighthawk has a solid N-link bracelet with a proper milled clasp. And apart from the fact that this is super comfortable, it is way better than what Seiko offers for the price. Press clasp and folded N-links, and it's just much better. And what I mostly like about it is the inverted N-links and the fact that the links are wing shaped. I mean, how cool is that? Now guys, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and it's time to go through the 5 things I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk. Let's get into it. Number 1 is the size. Because the Nighthawk is an all-dial design, the watch wears a bit larger than the 42mm case design would suggest, and despite the 47mm lug-to-lug, which is pretty short, the watch appears to look a bit big on my 6.3-inch wrist. I still like it though, but that's a bit of a bummer. The second thing that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk is the crystal. This is advertised as a pilot / tool watch, but the crystal on this is only a mineral crystal, which in a way kind of jeopardizes the whole tool watch part. Granted, mineral glass is not prone to shattering as sapphire, but this will scratch a lot easier. It's also a bit raised, so in a way you could say that it's a bit more exposed, so to speak. When you consider the price versus specs, something had to give, and in this case it was the crystal. Again, it's a bit of a bummer. The third thing that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk is the busy dial. All the functionality that's packed in this watch comes with a price, and unfortunately the dial pays that price because it's just too busy. The hands are big enough, and also the 12 and 6 numerals stand out, but every time you want to check the time, it takes you half a second extra just to find out where everything is, the numerals and the hands. Again, it's a busy dial, it has a lot of functionality, but also at the same time, it doesn't actually do the best job of telling the time quickly. The fourth thing that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk is that the inner rotating bezel turns way too easy. Every time I turn that little crown, it's actually really smooth, which is nice, and it turns really smooth. But again, I just think it's too easy. After a day's use, I just find that it's not where I left it. It doesn't affect the overall functionality, but I would prefer it to be a bit harder to turn. And the fifth thing that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk is the fact there is no lume on the GMT hand. The Citizen Nighthawk has this well laid out GMT function, and unfortunately there is no lume on either of the hands or the AM or PM dials. I know they're a bit small, but still I think it would have helped with nighttime visibility and would again fit in more with the whole tool watch part. The hands and the markers have plenty of lume, which make for decent low light visibility, but unfortunately there is no lume on either of the dials, the red or the AM or the PM dials, or either of the small planes. So that was it, guys. Hope you enjoyed my 5 things that I like and 5s that I don't like about my Citizen Nighthawk. Let me know in the comment section below, what are the things that you like or don't like about your Nighthawk if you have one. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to click a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't so, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!